In Procreate, you can delete everything on the layer by taking 3 fingers and scrubbing on the canvas. Procreate is so easy to use that most people just pick up the Apple Pencil and start drawing, but there are so many little features tucked away in this app that are really easy to miss. So, rapid fire style, I've got 30 of these tips, so let's just get into it.
This is Brad. He likes to review the tech. He also likes to draw. And this here is his theme song.
The cringy theme song will continue until every last one of you has hit subscribe. There have been a lot of changes to brushes in recent releases, so let's start there. Now, if you updated to version 5.4 last year and you saw a whole bunch of new brushes that you thought were cool, but you kind of want to go back to the old tried and true brushes, you can. Just pinch out on the brush library and you can see all of your brush libraries at once. The original brush library is called the Classic Library. You can also come in here and hit the plus button in the upper corner of your brush settings and create a new brush library if that's how you want to organize your brushes as well. You can now also search brushes by pulling down on the brush palette to make the search box appear. If you're using a textured brush you really like and you want to smudge or erase with it, all you have to do is long tap on the eraser or the smudge tool, and now that becomes your eraser or smudge tool as well. Now you have probably already found the recently used brush tabs. I live in that thing. You can swipe to the left on any brush and then pin it so that it will stay here in your recents. Now there are a ton of brushes in Procreate, and you've probably had an experience where you find the perfect brush, it's in your recents, but you're trying to figure out, where did I find that? Well, now by swiping to the left on it, you can actually tap the find option and it will take you to the section and the area where you actually have that brush. So you can find other brushes that are very similar. Now you can also back up all of your brushes to iCloud now, so you won't accidentally lose them when you're moving from one iPad to another. Start by tapping on the wrench, then go over to preferences, and then you're going to see it right here. Make sure that's toggled on. Now, you already know that you can come over here to the slider and change your brush size and opacity, but what if you want more granular control? Slide your pencil to the right, and now you're going to get a much smaller area to resize your brush in. Now, once you do find that pixel perfect size, if you tap on the scrubber, there's a little plus button here that will bookmark it for you. So that way, if you change it up, you can always go back and just tap on that little bookmark area, and it'll take you exactly to the size that you want it to be. Now, you already know that you could take 2 fingers, tap on the screen to undo, and then take 3 fingers, tap on the screen to redo. But if you take those 2 fingers and tap and hold on the canvas, it's going to undo super fast. You can also take 3 fingers, tap and hold on the canvas to redo super fast. You're able to go backwards up to 250 steps. One thing to keep in mind though is if you exit to the gallery or you leave Procreate altogether, you're going to lose all of those undos. If you tap on the wrench and you go over to preferences, there's a slider down here called Rapid Undo Delay. So if you want that to kick on a little slower or you want that to kick on a little faster, you can adjust it here. You can hide the interface entirely by taking 4 fingers and just tapping on it. And then of course 4 fingers tap to bring it back. 3 fingers down brings up the copy paste tools. Now this is customizable. If I go to the wrench and then I go over to preferences, I can go here. This is gesture control. And here I have that copy and paste dialog set to 3 finger swipe, but I can set it to other things too, like a 4 finger tap. Or maybe I want to take my quick menu and set that to a 3 finger swipe instead. Now what if I've been pinching and zooming and like moving everything around, but I want my canvas to snap back quickly? All I have to do is take 2 fingers and snap in quickly and it'll fill the entire page. You might already be familiar with quick shapes, where if you draw a shape and hold it, it will snap into the shape that you want it to be. But what if I want this oval to be a perfect circle? I take 1 finger and place it on the canvas and I'm good to go. It's not just circles this works with. It works with a lot of shapes, like squares. Tap and hold, make it a perfect square. Now what if I come in here and just draw a random shape and hold it? It'll snap into something called a polyline. And when you let go, you're going to see this text up here that says edit polyline. And if you tap on that, it almost turns into like a vector object of sorts. It lets you grab the different points and move them around. It's a great way to kind of get different kinds of shapes going on. Just be aware that as soon as you tap off that, it's no longer a vector object, it's paint on the canvas. Now, if you have a new iPad and Procreate and you're thinking, man, it would be fun fun to take an art class, use my iPad more for drawing, I have just the thing for you. Over on my website, bradsartschool.com, I have a course called Learn to Draw in 60 Days. It's really designed for beginners. Every day a new lesson with homework is designed to get you in there and get you drawing. If you'd like to learn more about that course, you can check it out on my website, bradsartschool.com. Let's take a look at the layer palette. Now say you want to quickly change the opacity of any layer. Just take 2 fingers and tap on that layer. You're going to see this little opacity thing come up here on the top, and then you can just take a finger and scrub the opacity down or scrub the opacity back up. There's a lot of other things we can do with layers as well. For example, if I want to select just the contents of one layer, I take 2 fingers and I tap and hold. It may be kind of hard to see, but I have selected just that layer. Now you probably already noticed I'm really bad about naming my layers, but it's pretty easy. When you tap to rename your layer, you can use the Apple Pencil to just scribble it out. Let me try that again. Scribble it out. And then I can just write in elephant. There we go, and it just renames it for me. Now, what if I just want to see the outlines of one of my drawings? That's actually pretty easy to do. What you have to do is tap and hold on the checkbox itself, and it'll toggle off all of the other layers. It toggles off your background color too, but there we go. This also works with groups, so if I tap and hold the checkbox of the group, it'll turn on or turn off the entire group. Now, what if I want to duplicate a layer group? I can always swipe to the right on it. We all know that. But if I want to duplicate a lot at once and maybe move it to a new canvas, I swipe to the right on everything that I want. I tap and hold, and then I pull them off. I'm going to tap on gallery, I'm going to zoom out and go to the canvas I want to move it to, and then when I drop it in, it imports all of those layers for me onto a new canvas. Now, one thing that you'll notice is that you do lose your groups this way, and it can import the layers in kind of a funky order. What if I do want to move them in order? What I could do is I can tap and drag. We're going to go back to the gallery, and then we're going to go to that document again, but this time I'm going to open the layers palette, I'm going to drag it in, and this time my layers are in order. Now you do lose some things. If you have a group, it'll take that group away and it'll just import the single layers. Did you know that Procreate has a reference panel? If I go over to the wrench and I go to the canvas tab, there is this thing right here that says reference, and if I toggle it on, I get this nice reference box that lets me move it anywhere I want on my canvas. Now right now it is referencing my canvas, so if I zoom in on an area, I still have this reference. In fact, I can tap and hold and choose a color from another part of my image to use on this part of the image. Now right now it's referencing the canvas, but it can reference an image, or it can even reference my face. That's going to ask to use the camera, and then it's going to try to find my face. Oh my gosh. It put the image on my face. I don't think I'm ever going to actually need that. Procreate has a bunch of cool animation tools. If you go up here to the wrench and then you go to the canvas tab, there's this section called Animation Assistant. If I toggle that on, down here it brings up my animation toolbar. And from here you can play. Basically what it does is it takes every layer on your canvas and turns it into a frame. It will also take groups and make a group a frame. And then from there you can basically turn this into an animation app. It's pretty simple. You can't import audio or anything like that. But for just sketching out small scenes, it's really great. You also have a settings button down here, so you can turn on some onion skinning, or you can change the frames per second and that sort of thing. Also in that wrench, right below Animation Assist, there is Page Assist. So if you're making a children's book or an illustrated book, a comic, and you want different pages, you can use it kind of the same way the animation works. Different pages within Procreate. Check out my home screen. Over here in the upper left, Procreate has a widget. So you can turn on your widget and it will show you your most recent drawing. And when you tap on it, it'll take you right to that drawing. Now, when we're in the gallery, if we click on the plus button, it's going to show us our most recent canvases. I'm actually really bad about cleaning these out. So if I want to, I can swipe on any of them and delete them. Or if one is really important to me and I want to keep it, I can swipe on it, I can edit it, I can change anything that I want on it, I can go here to canvas properties, I can even tap on the name untitled canvas and call it, let's call it, squiggle that out and call it Brad's Canvas. And now when I go back to my gallery, I have Brad's canvas saved in my frequently used sizes. Let's check out the color picker in the upper right hand corner. If you get to the color that you want, but you want more control over it, you can actually pinch out on the color circle to make it take up more space. Then when you're done with it, you can just pinch in to make it smaller again. Sometimes when you're using the color picker, you may be trying to find that perfect white, but you're not quite there. You're getting a shade of gray instead. All you have to do on the color picker is double tap in that area and it will click to the perfect color of white. If you double tap on the bottom, it'll click into that perfect color of black. Or over here, it'll click into the perfectly fully saturated version of that color. You also have palettes over here, and if we click on the plus button, we can create a palette from the camera. It's going to use the iPad's camera itself, can snap a picture, and then you can choose colors from. You can also do that from a photo or an illustration that you've already created and have it make a palette from that instead. You ever do that thing where you drag and drop your color into space and you get this nasty like edge along the side? Well, that's where a tool called Color Threshold comes in. If I grab my color and I drag it in, but I don't let go of the stylus, you're going to see color drop come up along the top. Now this can do a couple things. First of all, I'm going to drag, I'm going to hold, and I'm not going to take my pencil off this. And then as I drag to the right, you're going to see this blue bar come in. That's your color threshold. The higher the threshold, the more it's going to get rid of space on the edge. The lower the threshold, the more you're going to get that little white line. It comes in pretty handy. Another thing that you could do after you've drug your color in, let's drag one in, and then I'm going to get this up here that says color drop. I can continue to fill. I waited too long. Let me try that again. Drop it in there. I'm going to tap continue filling. And now I can just tap on all the other spaces I have and continue filling those in. It's great for coloring in really complicated pieces of art. All right, so those are my Procreate tips. Did I forget your favorite? What's something you think I should know about? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.